Recording. Yeah.
Okay, so today, let me just zoom in. Okay, okay. So today we are going to we're going to try and cover the verse 6.20 and 6.21 of Dhyan Yoga. Do you hear any background noise?
No.
No. Okay. All right. So, so uh, which is a chapter 6. So let's do the invocation. I have actually a lot of content to cover. So, all right. So, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsacharnooramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right, so let's do an introduction to the verses. All the verses we have covered till now, because this will lead to the next concept. So if we don't go back, we will not be having the continuation. So in short, I will explain everything. So in the verses 1 and 2, we have defined what is a true sannyasi and who is a true yogi. So a true sannyasi and a yogi is one who is sannyasi is not someone who leaves everything. Sannyasi is basically someone who works for God, right? That's what we've learned. So when a person is working for God, his mind and his actions, everything is dedicated to God. He is not actually interested in any of the fruits. So such a person. And yogi is someone also, who is like karm yogi or whoever. Whatever actions they are doing, they are also not attached to the results. So in that sense, the verse 2 says that renunciation and yoga are one and the same, because both are actually not their actions are selfless, and they are working without any desire towards the results. That is only that when they fulfill that criteria, they are actually both are same, which is the yogi and the sannyasis, they are same. Next is the path of yoga, where they are saying that we've learned when a person is starting in this yoga, they actually has to go through the selfless action. So they will have some selfish action and they will have some selfless action. And then while they continue to do that, they become perfected. And when that perfection happens, then that all the external duties, whatever they are performing, that in what I will get, that result will, that result oriented mindset will go away, and then they get established. So then they are called perfected yogis. So initially they will be performing selfless action like karma yoga, and then they get established, and they become perfected. And then they actually start working on their mind also. So through self discipline, they will actually make their mind their friend. So that is what we've learned in 6.5. Next is in verse 6 to 9. When their mind gets controlled, they naturally achieve peace, because mind is the one that actually stands in the way and says, I'm different, you are different, everybody is different. So all kinds of dualities comes through the mind. So when a person actually controls their mind, they will have peace. And where in that peace, that person will become undisturbed in all situations. They will find fulfillment. Then they will start gyan yoga, they will start learning about these, and they will naturally develop gyan and vairagya. Naturally it will come as a result of peace in their mind, as a result of self discipline, as a result of making the mind your friend. And then while seeing, and they then start seeing all the beings with equal vision, which is beyond friends and beyond foe. That is, it is, they are me only. Kanaka, that Kanchana, and the gold, the clay and the mud, everything, they will see as same. And then they progress in their meditation. I mean, they start progressing in their um, Dhyan Yoga, where they will start meditating in solitude with a controlled mind. They will sit in a good place, neither too high, too low, which we've discussed in 6.10, 6.11, and then their mind becomes single pointed, and now they are actually going to start meditating on the self. So till now they were all trying to purify themselves, and all karma yoga and all kinds of knowledge and vairagya, through which they are actually getting detached from the external material world, and they're getting established as a soul. And then, I mean, they're focusing on them, the real self. And then from there, they the practice of meditation becomes more steady, and they will sit upright, gaze steady, focus their mind on the self, and they avoid extremes in eating, sleeping, and moderation, which further leads to success in getting slowly they are getting established in their self. And then in the verse 17 we learned that one who is balanced, not in extreme, but balanced in eating and recreation, who is moderate in work and regulated in sleep, wakeful, they will destroy all kinds of mental suffering. So they are further going into the state of yoga, or understanding themselves. And then in 6.18 we we are discussing from steady focus to deep absorption, how a person further goes into the deep meditative state. So here a yogi withdraws from external distractions, renounces material cravings, their mind becomes steady, no longer wandering in desires or external influences. And with the focused awareness, continuous meditation, they will achieve deeper spiritual realizations. They will understand, they will start getting they understand more subtler concepts. So next is 6.19, where uh, the meditation matures, mind becomes still. So that is the lamp example that Sandhya has taken. In the it will not flicker, your mind will become more steady on that self, or whoever the object of meditation, if it is God or if it is in a mantra, whichever roop dhyan, right, naam and roop, it will become steady in that. So that is the deepening of meditation. Till that we have studied in that is this progress shows how self discipline in meditation up to 6.18 that we have discussed leads to unshakable stillness and deep absorption. So this is 6.19. So next, I wanted to say about dhyana, which is again this meditation. It represents deep. So dhyana is a consequence of all the actions that we have done till now, which is that deep, that lamp example. So this is deep, unwavering focus. It will not go left, right, anywhere. On a single object, serving as the bridge between concentration and absorption. So it is coming somewhere between dharana and samadhi. So Ashtang Yoga, they have seven limbs, right? I mean 8 limbs. So seventh limb is dhyan. So it is coming between the dharana and dhyana. So now what is so in meditation actually there are three aspects, and this is very important to remember, so that because this will become the base on which I'm going to build the rest of the discussion. So here the meditator is known as dhyata, the one who is engaged in meditation. So he will always know that I am the one who is meditating. And dhyana is the process of meditation, which is continuous, unwavering focus on a single object. And then the object of meditation. So we are focusing on something. So there we need an object. So that is known as dhyaya. Okay, and these three together is known as triputi. So dharana, what is dharana? So dhyana is the bridge, right? So dharana is it involves effort. Like we are studying Bhagavad Gita, we're trying to concentrate. Again, our mind will waver, go somewhere, and again come back. So that is dharana, where we are trying to concentrate, and it involves effort to hold the mind steady on an object. the mind may still wander and require repeated effort to.
તે જ કરી રહી છું ને, તો જો તો ખરો.
And
તો પછી
dhyana. Dhyana means concentration becomes effortless, so that we have already discussed, and the focus becomes uninterrupted, and the mind will not waver. So it is a natural progress from dharana to dhyana. Now, different how to practice dhyana. So there are different types of practices that we do for that, to develop that focus. Mantra chanting. So we repeating a mantra like Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Krishna. So the sound vibrations actually help the mind stay absorbed in the divine energy. Next is Saguna Dhyana. So we are actually meditating on our Ishtadev, and this integrates devotion and focus. So we are developing two things here together. So we are bringing the bhav and we are bringing the focus. So strengthening emotional connection to the divine. So which is Dvait, the what do you call that philosophy? In that, this is how it is followed. So Saguna Dhyana is there. Then there is Nirgun Dhyan, formless meditation, which is Advait philosophy, where the person is meditating on the formless Brahman. So formless Brahman actually does not mean that, Bhagwan has no form. Formless Brahman means everything is God. That is the concept. Because if I don't know whether you've attended my classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, where I've mentioned when we open our mouth from A to close, all the words have a form, including the mantras have a form. So everything is actually a manifestation of Bhagavan. So that is what this form, they cannot give a particular form to Bhagavan. That's why they call it as formless. And it is practiced in Advaita Vedanta. Next type of dhyana is mindfulness, where a person is observing on their breath, thoughts, bodily sensations. Like, a Buddha basically was focusing on his breath. And then some insights were, whatever form, whether you consider everything as Bhagwan or we have a form as Bhagwan, where whatever one meditates on, one becomes. So meditating on peace, love, divinity integrates these qualities into one's being. And in Dhyan, the mind fully absorbed in the self, and it remains fully absorbed in the self. And because it is unwavering, right? It will only focus on that one thing. And this state of meditation leads to heightened awareness, preparing the yogi for samadhi. So this is a bridge between the dharana and samadhi, dhyana. So now we are going to focus on today's shlok, which is 6.20. I'll just read and then you can volunteer. यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति. Any volunteers?
I'll go ahead.
One second. Yes.
Radhe Radhe. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati.
Thank you, Sandhya. I can't see if somebody else is actually raising their hands. Okay. So if nobody's there, let me just go to the translation. So here it is saying, when the mind restrained from material activities becomes still by the practice of yoga, then the yogi is able to behold the soul through the purified mind, and he rejoices in inner joy. So basically, if you divide this whole translation into two, which is, when the mind restrained from material activities becomes still by the practice of yoga, this is still 6.19, where we have actually practiced the stillness. The mind has become unwavering, the focus has become perfect, and it has become still on one object. So this 6.20 is actually the continuation. So which is, then the yogi is able to behold the soul through the purified mind. Once your mind is purified, is able to focus on one thing, and you have sufficient devotion, and then you will be able to behold the soul. So if it is a dhyan margi, my person who follows the dhyan marg and says aham brahmasmi, then that person will perceive Brahman. And if it is bhakti yogi, then that person will perceive Bhagavan. So that is what is being explained here. Then the yogi is able to behold the soul through the purified mind, and he rejoices in the inner joy. So what is inner joy? So these two aspects is what we are going to study in this particular shloka. So this verse describes the peak of yogic meditation, where the mind, after sustained discipline, becomes completely silent. In this silence, the yogi experiences direct self-realization, where no external stimulus is needed for joy, and the self is fully contained within itself. So right now we think that if I get this or if I get that, I'm getting joy out of it. But our actual the we are actually anu Satchit Anand, right? So that is, the bliss is actually in us as an intrinsic quality, but we are looking outside. So he's saying that in this silence, when our after sustained discipline, in the complete silence, we will experience direct self-realization, and we will become fully content with the self, and we will need no external stimulus for joy anymore. So as I told, that I'm going to divide it into two sections, which is, first is behold the soul, right? The yogi is able to behold the soul, and the second is inner joy. So let's study about the section 1. So let's learn about transition from dhyana to samadhi. So as meditation deepens, self-awareness begins to fade. So when we are completely focused on one thing, slowly, we our self-awareness that I am meditating. If you remember that Triputi, which is the dhyan, the object of meditation, and the person, who is doing. So in that, the self-awareness, the person who says that I am doing, that will begin to fade. The meditator is no longer thinking I am meditating. Only the object of meditation remains, and no awareness of the world, body, or senses. All the external perception vanishes in samadhi. So a person will not have any awareness of what is going around him, even in his bodies or senses. He will not hear anything, smell anything, nothing. It's completely absorbed into that self. And the name and the rupa, which is the object of so if you remember this, so the process of meditation, object of meditation. So process is mantra chanting, and object is Bhagwan. So if we go in that, then the name and the rupa, they will remain, and the as the object of meditation still exist. Okay. But there will not be the person who's meditating. The meditator is no longer actively controlling the meditation. So he's not controlling in the samadhi. Instead, the process happens naturally and effortlessly. So example is like a musician or artist in deep flow state no longer thinks about their, that I'm doing something. It's just the action is automatically happening. So only the music or the painting remains. Similarly, in meditation, the self dissolves, leaving only the mantra and the deity in focus. So we're going to discuss more on the samadhi. So why we are discussing this? Because we will understand who we are, the self realization or the God realization, whatever you want to call. You will get a glimpse of that, or you will get established in that only in samadhi. So samadhi, two primary categories are there. One is Savikalpa Samadhi, and another is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Savikalpa Samadhi is also known as Sampragnat Samadhi, and Nirvikalpa Samadhi is known as Asampragnat Samadhi. So one is absorption with awareness, and another is absorption without awareness. So what is the meaning of absorption with awareness? So as I said, the Triputi, in the Savikalpa Samadhi, the Triputi is there. All the three are there. That is, the person who is meditating is there, the object of meditation is there, and then the the chanting, that is also there. So in this state, the distinction between the meditator, the process of meditation, and the object of meditation still exists. So I am aware of what I am doing. So the Ishta Devata, chosen deity, and the mantra remains clearly present in awareness. The yogi experiences deep concentration, yet there is still an awareness that I am meditating on the divine, that it will be there. That is with Savikalpa Samadhi. But this is probably how Parikshit was, experiencing, because he had all the knowledge, all the dharana was there, everything about Lord Krishna was there in his mind, and then he went in that state. He left his body in that state. So the yogi experiences deep concentration, yet there is still awareness of meditating on the divine. This is the samadhi referred in the eighth limb of Ashtanga Yoga. So this is the final realization, that samadhi for Ashtanga Yoga. Yes, Sandhya.
So in this cervical samadhi, the ego still remains.
Um, yes, I think because here the person is aware that I am doing, right? So the ego is remaining there.
So is it then considered complete, or is it always followed by eventually a nirvikalp samadhi?
So see, the nirvikalp samadhi, the I-ness will also go away. So that is more into the Brahman realization, which is how I see is Mahavishnu form. Person just merges into that Mahavishnu form, and that is where this Vikalpa Samadhi is coming. And Nirvikalpa Samadhi is one step beyond, which is the Narayana realization, where the whole thing merges. So that is how you can understand that. Okay, so next is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. As a meditation deepens further, even the mantra drops away. And now only the luminous form of deity remains. So now you don't even remember anything, that you're chanting a mantra or you're sitting somewhere. You start losing that awareness of body, everything, and you will still see the that image that you have formed in your mind on Bhagwan. That image will remain. So if you remember, Premanandji always says, write Radha in your mind when you are chanting, So similarly, maybe that Radha or some form that you're, meditating on, that is why it is important that you take one form and keep it, alive in that meditation. Always look at it and try to make a mental image of that in your mind or something like that. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that mantra will also go away. Externally, a person will feel that you are sleeping basically. But within you are very, very active. And you are not there. There is no mantra, but that image will be there in front of you. There is no sense of I am meditating, no thoughts, body awareness, or worldly perception, only pure, undisturbed presence. Even the distinction between the deity's name and form dissolves. So you will not understand what is going on, leaving only formless awareness. So it will be very mental, probably, that chanting also. And this is the highest state of meditation, where all division between subjects and objects disappear, leading to complete spiritual absorption. So now I have this list of types of Savikalpa Samadhi. So there are, so when you say that um, with a form, right, with that I-ness, that I am doing this is the types of samadhis that we are going so this is how you are going to experience the self. Okay, so Vitarka Samadhi, meditation on gross objects with full awareness. Mind focuses completely, but the object remains distinct. And here, the deity, mantra, sacred symbol, or object of meditation is this. So mind is on gross objects with full awareness, and mind focuses completely, but the object remains distinct, that I am doing, and this person, the Dvait Bhav is there. And example is, I'm meditating on God, focusing on a yantra, focusing on a candle flame to enhance your concentration, and like that. Vichara Samadhi, where we are meditating on subtle forms and formless concepts. Focus shifts from physical form to abstract universal principles. So that is also, but here also it is kind of I am doing that meditation, and object of meditation is infinity, space, divine light, emptiness, or universal consciousness. So a Vedantic meditator contemplates on aham brahmasmi. A yogi visualizes pure light. Scientists contemplating on the nature of existence. Then there is Ananda Samadhi, where meditation on pure spiritual joy, which is beyond material and sensory pleasures, the inner bliss of the self, divine ecstasy or love for God. That will be the object of meditation. And we'll be thinking about how beautiful that incident is, where Yashoda Ma is tying Krishna, all that kind of, we are just engrossed in that one scene. So example is, deep love for the divine, Krishna devotees experiencing tears of bliss, yogi feeling ecstatic joy while meditating, Sufi mystic dancing in divine remembrance and absorption. Then there is Asmita Samadhi, which is meditation on pure existence. Only the awareness of, so I am this, I am that. So, when you start on that, you will, you will not think that, I am different from this. So, though this is also God, that is also that, that itself will bring so much love in within, from within. So beingness, itself. So absolute stillness or pure self-awareness. So pure self is everything. So like that, that will be your object of meditation. So this probably you can do not only just, you don't have to sit somewhere, you can just look around and you can go into the samadhi actually. A meditator in total stillness, aware of I exist. A practitioner experiencing deep silence and emptiness in meditation, and yogi sitting in pure awareness beyond mind and distractions. Then dhyana samadhi is there, which where the mind enters an unbroken flow of meditation, where thoughts do not interfere. Meditator remains deeply absorbed. Ishtadev thus. So this is where most of us probably are, where we are actually, if we are sitting and doing a meditation on an form, or the self, which is everything. The yogi meditating on Krishna or Shiva with uninterrupted concentration, and advanced meditative experiences effortless absorption. You don't have to bring, oh, I have to cook, but no, I have to do meditation, not like that. So naturally, even while cooking, you will be thinking about Bhagavan. So next is Bhava Samadhi. Yes, Sandhya.
I just couldn't stop myself. So this Bhav Samadhi, the way it is expressed and written here, the saint that we will be discussing today, if we get time, I think is definitely, corresponding to this particular form of samadhi. So
Okay.
we will get to discuss an example and get inspired from that as well. So stay tuned.
Thank you. Looking forward to that. So if the time does not permit, I'll not take the next shloka because I think I have a lot to cover. So next is Bhav Samadhi. It's a deep spiritual absorption in divine love, surrender, and devotion. The mind loses itself in divine emotions, and God in any form, or pure love itself. So we can, that is the object of meditation. And here the saint completely immerses in the name of the God, weeping in devotion. A bhakta experiences overwhelming divine presence in kirtan and chanting. So here there is, what is the difference between dhyana and bhava samadhi? Dhyan samadhi is we are actually meditating on the form, and bhav samadhi is we are actually meditating on the bhav that we are experiencing while we are thinking. So it is not even, I mean, when we are thinking about that deity, naturally that bhav only will come. So that is the difference in the bhav samadhi and the Dhyan Samadhi. So next is, there is another two section of samadhis that Patanjali Yoga Sutra says, that is Sabija and Nirbija Samadhi. So what is that? So Sabija Samadhi is samadhi with seed. So even though, so we have discussed all these samadhis, right? So different types of Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa, and then different types of Savikalpa, under that only different types of samadhis. So all these samadhis went further deepens. Okay, then that gets converted into these two types of samadhis, which is called as sabija samadhi or nirbija samadhi. Okay, so sabija samadhi, a state of deep absorption, but some subtle impressions of desires or ego remains. So that means even though we are still, that object of that meditator is still there. Okay, that and that meditator still has some kind of desires. So because of that, see, some awareness of meditation remains, as subtle ego still exists. And here the experience, the because he is still having some kind of an desire, he will actually get lot of siddhis while doing this. So this is kind of a test by God. Don't come to me, you have these desires still, right? So I'm giving you this, you can fulfill your desires using this siddhis. So extraordinary spiritual abilities, mind reading, clairvoyance, supernatural powers, everything you will get if you've reached the stage where you're sabija samadhi. And the example is a meditator who has reached deep samadhi but still experiences subtle thoughts, a yogi developing supernatural abilities. So when a person reaches that stage, that person has to actually discard that also. Otherwise, one more janma you have to take and come back for the self-realization. So we have to be very careful. So next is nirbija samadhi, because power is something that can you know it can just make anybody get distracted from their goals. So next is nirbija, where the final stage, where even the last traces of impression, desires, and ego is completely dissolved. Says, no, I'm not interested in all of this. I'm only interested in God. So when that stage comes, then no awareness of the self or meditation, only pure consciousness remains. So there, now your ego is also gone. When that ego goes away, you are in proper samadhi. And when that is there, the duration of which can, for Ramana Maharshi, it was for 6 months. So people, it varies from people to people. And you will be like, you will be breathing, but nobody can wake you up. You will be like in a kind of a coma state. So no awareness of self or meditation, only pure consciousness remains at that stage, and all impressions and desires vanish, leading to total liberation and oneness with Brahman. So here you actually become Krishna, if you remember that form. Then the form is there and the formlessness within him is there, and you are actually, the ego is merged. So now that you have a body, that person is actually Krishna only. That person will not be anything else. And when the person leaves the body, then naturally they will exist as that one, that Krishna. So no, there is no subtle ego, or there is no separate identity anymore. So no interest in or attachment to siddhis, complete detachment from the material world. So there will not be any material things uh, in them. And a yogi in absolute stillness, without any sense of self or external, perception, will be that state, of nirbija samadhi, and the state of jivan mukta, liberated while alive. So then, if that person comes back, he can even leave his body in that state, and because he will understand that, okay, I have got what I really wanted. So if that kind of thing is there, then um he may leave. Otherwise, he's actually in a state of, he's a jivan mukta, liberated while alive, and who exists in the world but remains completely free. So in this state, actually, there is a detachment from, prakriti and purush. So actually in the further chapters of Bhagavad Gita, it will come, who is prakriti. And so prakriti is what? The mind, the all the senses, the ego, the intellect, everything is prakriti. And the purush is the paramatma aspect, which actually takes on this prakriti. And so here in the jivan mukta state, he is actually able to separate himself from that prakriti. So prakriti will exist, but that jivan mukta will know that he is not that. So completely not experiential realization. So who exists in the world but remains completely free. So that is Nirbija Samadhi. And the second section of this is inner joy. So what kind of inner joy the person experiences when a person is in that state of samadhi and has realized Bhagwan. So also here, in the not in the Nirbij Samadhi, but in the Sabija Samadhi, somewhere a person can actually, see Bhagwan also, talking like, Ramakrishna Paramhamsa was talking to Kali Devi, the deity actually manifested in front of him. So that also happens. So that is also a state of Samadhi only. They go into that state of samadhi. So let's discuss on the joy. So that's the second aspect of the shloka. So what kind of joy do we get in this world? So we have Vishyananda, we have Bhajanananda, and we have Brahmananda. Okay. So Vishyananda, so joy from sense objects. So here we have to actually understand a very important thing, which is usually we are very happy people. Okay. And the moment we see something that someone else has, okay, that desire comes. And then now we want to get it. So that becomes our goal. Okay. And then now we become restless. Without that, I will not be happy. You know, so that curve, which was in, straight with that happiness, goes down because I did not have, because I saw the object, I attached my mind to it, and I've developed all cravings and, all kinds of things. And now I am not happy. Now next is when I get it. So I get that, I feel it actually, when I get it, I come back to my normal state of happiness because I already got it, and my mental wavering is not there anymore. So in that stage, when my mental wavering is not there, I'm happy once more. Okay. So the idea that I am getting joy from sense objects is actually absolutely wrong. I am not getting any joy from sense objects. I am getting joy because my mental disturbance that I have started because of attachment, that led me away from my joy. Okay, so that we have to understand. So now let's go to the Vishyananda. So the mind desiring an object due to past impressions, seeks fulfillment by acquiring it. So it starts wrongly thinking that when I get this, I will be more happy, not understanding that I was always happy. And then when the object is attained, like eating a cookie, the desire temporarily subsides, making the mind momentarily calm. Okay, that is why we can never achieve that state of bliss by looking at attaining more things. Because whenever we think about attaining something, the graph goes down. So, we have to. That's why we say that don't work on that. The object of what do you call? We have to leave the goal. We in the Bhagavad Gita we say now that I'm not remembering the shloka actually, where we say now, don't look for the fruits, but be involved in the process. Because while we are involved in the process, we are actually very happy. But the moment we think of the fruit, we go down. That mental thing will come and all kinds of agitations and everything. So in that moment of calmness, where we have actually attained the things, the natural bliss of the self is reflected in the mind, creating the illusion that joy comes from the object. So joy is not coming from any object. We are actually going back to our original state of mind. However, Vedanta clarifies that objects do not create happiness, they only remove restlessness, allowing inner bliss to shine for a brief moment. Again, that thing comes back. But the nature of the mind is that we'll always go behind what's next. Okay, I got this. Now what's next? What next? So that will never allow us to be in that. So meditation actually helps. Even if the goal is not God realization, meditation actually helps in having that sustained happiness, because we are sitting in one place not thinking about anything, and we are probably thinking about the God, which is in itself brings a lot of bliss. And we are in that steady state of joy, that Sachidanand that we have, and we actually experiences it more because mental clattering, that all talks and all desires are subsided in. We are working on mm, uh, not getting distracted. So, this explains why worldly pleasures are temporary and why the mind constantly seeks new sources of joy, because it is our vritti, or it's our samskar, and that only, if we like something, we'll like it more, we want it more, because we think that without which we will not survive, or not understanding that basically it's very easy to come to our self, but because of our mental because we have not given much thought to these things, we get distracted. So an example is a dog chewing a bone, cuts its own lips, tastes its own blood, and mistakenly thinks the bone is giving it joy. Similarly, humans experience their joy but mistakenly attribute it to external objects. So if we are somehow, if we can get away from this mental chattering, actually we'll be naturally happy. So Vishyananda is joy from the sense objects. Next is Bhajanananda. So joy from spiritual practice. So let's see what that is. So a wise person realizes that joy is internal and begins to renounce worldly desires. So they will understand that, okay, whatever I have, I'm happy with it. It is naturally coming as a result of my own actions. Even if it is something sad also, okay, I am dealing with my karma, like that person will think, and a person will always try to maintain that internal joy. And instead of running after sensory pleasures, they calm the mind through devotion, prayer, meditation, and selfless, like Kunti Devi was asking, right? Give me more pain so that I can think about you, you know so in that state, so whatever happens, I'm okay, and I train my mind to be calmer through meditation, through prayer, devotion, and selfless service at that point of time. And I'm more happy, or at least in that state where I'm not hankering behind new things. So the less attached the mind is, the more it reflects the bliss of the self, which is my own self, in a purer and more intense form, because that duration of me not thinking about the worldly material things, that duration is increasing, and that is why the bliss is also naturally increasing. We feel that it is because we are doing a practice that it is increasing, but that's not true. It is increasing because I am actually I'm remembering my true self, and I'm uh, coming to my own self. This leads to a deep fulfillment in spiritual practices like kirtan, devotional singing, meditation, and samadhi. Because right now I'm thinking about only one thing, and that one thing is naturally, its nature is bringing of bliss. So any name of God is will bring bliss, because that is its nature. So when we think about that, when we take that name, that quality, whatever you think about, you become. So that quality naturally comes within you. So this leads to deep fulfillment in spiritual practices like kirtan, devotional singing, meditation, and samadhi. And there's an Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. It describes different levels of spiritual joy, showing how letting go of desires leads to increasing peace and contentment within. If anybody gets time, you can read that. It's very nice. Next is key insight. Moving from Vishayananda to Bhajanananda is essential for true peace. And because that change in the desire is not happening, it is steady, and it is on God, which is some quality which you will imbibe within yourself. So moving from Vishayananda to Bhajanananda is essential for true peace. One must first shift from chasing sensory pleasures to seeking spiritual joy before realizing the ultimate bliss of Brahmananda. So now that you have this, one thing, that is what we call as bija samadhi, right? So we will be in that state when we as we move forward with our chanting and kirtan and meditation on Bhagwan. So, and then after that is what Brahmananda comes as what? As per Dhyan Yoga, this chapter. Okay. So I think we'll stop here and probably we'll cover 6.21 next week. So thank you for giving this opportunity. Radhe Radhe.
Wonderful. Actually, I was about to ask this question. Like this Brahmanand, of course, because this is Dhyan Yoga, but from our perspective, the Premanand is also kind of included in the same category,
Yes,
right?
that will come in the next section. So I have included that. So
Awesome, awesome. And once again, thank you so much for this was a very well structured scholarly presentation. So I never knew that there are so many types of samadhi and and good division samadhi and then anandas. So awesome. So I'll move to the Bhakcharit section. Let me just start sharing the screen. Yes, this is right. Do you see the picture?
yes,
Awesome. Okay. So, anybody wants to guess the name of the devotee, this lady? So, Lord Krishna, he is in the form of Vitthal here. So, she is a Maharashtrian saint, very popular. And Lord Krishna is actually grinding the grains for her. Any idea? Anyone? Anyone has heard of her name? I, of course, won't take a lot of time because we just move forward, but no? Okay. So her name is Janabai. So this is the story of Janabai, where Lord Vitthal himself came and washed clothes and ground grains for her, amongst many other things. So let's hear more about her. She was born near a river in Maharashtra, Godavari River, and both her parents died when she was very young, like at the age of 8 years. She had lost both her parents. But good thing was that she was introduced to the bhakti of Lord Vitthal at such a young age. And she had this realization that if you can serve a devotee of Krishna, a devotee of Lord Vitthal, you can achieve Lord Vitthal. Only through their grace, you can achieve the grace of meeting the Lord. So she, and I think all of us have heard of Namdev ji. Remember that dog, a saint who was running with ghee to offer the for a sukhi roti, like a dry chapati, to a dog. So that was the sense that Namdev ji used to carry, that each and every individual has my Krishna, my God, my Vitthal within them. So Namdev ji was a very elevated devotee, and she decided to work with him for elevating and purifying herself. So so she used to serve his entire family very diligently, doing all the household works like washing clothes, grinding flour, preparing food, utensils, sweeping, everything. So what will happen? Namdev ji, as the name also suggests, he was the giver of Nam. Okay, so he was all 24 by 7 immersed in Lord's name, chanting and glories of Lord. So, of course, in his presence and in his association, she also adopted this habit. And while doing any service, she would also be chanting the name of the Lord. And automatically, she would see that Namdev ji and the people, the devotees association that he was in, they always were super immersed in remembrance of God with all the bhavs. So seeing that, she would always seek the same thing. She had a deep yearning of getting absorbed in the same blissful devotional state that every other devotee around her, all the elevated people used to have. So she, while doing the service, she'll start crying. She will feel that extreme longing. And also she will experience the joy of devotion, in its own bouts. So there will also be kirtans organized and she will participate in them. So all of this was happening. She was always making sure that her priority was to serve the devotee of Lord, right? So she would always make sure that she doesn't make any single mistake in doing that. That all the services that she's doing for Namdev ji's family is always given the priority. Not even her devotional remembrance of God should become an impedance in that. So that was the attitude that she was carrying all the time. So, so with that, she will just continue. And, as bhavs kept on flowing through her and she was getting purified gradually. So, this picture is showing basically a kirtan that was happening on the every once Ekadashi night. So every Ekadashi, the kirtan will happen. The devotees will gather and she would again get immersed. So this time again, throughout the night, she did not sleep because she was immersed in this blissful joy of the kirtan. So Bhajananand, I think that's what it is, right? So, and then this time, because she was so much immersed, she got late in performing the duties. And when she realized that she needs to now get back to the duties, she got really stressed out because it's not one thing that she needs to do. She needs to wash the clothes, she needs to wash the utensils, and many other things. So when she went to wash the clothes, she realized, oh man, I also have to do the utensils. So how do I manage it all? So while she was just confused in that state and stressed, a mysterious old woman just came up and she said that, let me help you with washing the clothes. You go and finish your other task. Like, Janama, like, I don't know you. Why do you want to help me? And then she was like, don't worry. I'm here to help you. And you belong to me. I'm here to help you. Janabai was like, okay, you are a very nice person. But that is where she was getting to till then, right? And then this old woman said that I have the best experience of cleaning. I have been cleaning things to the perfection since forever. So don't worry, I will do the best job of this particular task. So Janabai went and started washing the utensils, and in the meanwhile, this lady washed the clothes, and of course, the clothes were washed in an amazing way. And she said that whatever I clean, that remains clean forever. It never gets dirty again. So there were many hints that this old lady is not simply an old lady, but somebody else. But till this time, Janabai only was when she came back, she just realized that okay, I must be. She was very, very grateful to this lady, and she said that my Vittal only has sent you because a person like you cannot come from anywhere else. So yes, she could see that this individual is God sent, but she couldn't envisage that this is God himself. And that was the reality actually. So as you can see in this picture, this old lady was no one else but Vittal himself who came to help his devotee. And this is what she realized when she talked to Namdev ji about this entire incident. And Namdev ji, being a realized saint, quickly got it right that Lord Vittal himself came. So in one way, Namdev ji was feeling a little bad because Lord Vittal came and washed his clothes, right? But in other way, he was also very happy for Janabai that like Lord Vittal came and helped her so that her devotion doesn't get impacted. So, and when she realized that it was Lord Vittal, she also started crying because, like she couldn't recognize him and she made him do her work. But also she was angry. Why did you not tell? Like, why did Lord did not reveal himself to her? Like, she has been yearning a lot for him. So that happened, but so that was like the main incident. There are many other incidents which I'll just briefly describe given the time, like we have 4 minutes left. So after this incident, of course, her devotion increased a lot more, her absorption increased a lot more that she couldn't even control, but get deeply absorbed in the state of, I would say, samadhi, or bhav samadhi or anand samadhi. I'm no one to distinguish that, but so with that, again, she would like just like she was cleaning, um, collecting the garbage, mopping the area, and she just got absorbed and she stopped in between. So who came to help? As you can see in this picture, Lord Vittal in his true form came and started collecting the garbage for her, and now she sees that, and so now this became a regular practice. Um, and what happened, this the second picture is actually showing an incident where Kabir Das ji, we all know Kabir Das ji, a Bhakti saint, he came to visit Namdev ji, as he was inspired from him as well. So then, when he had come to meet, he heard two women who were having an argument. So he just went closer and he wanted to hear what the argument is about. So this was an argument between Janabai and another woman, where Janabai was saying that these pancakes of cow dung belong to me, and that other lady was saying they belong to me. Janabai was very adamant that they belong to me, and she had a way to prove it. How? She said that, okay, put it close to your ear. If you hear the sound of Vitthal coming from these pancakes, then they actually belong to me. And that is what was the case. And then Kabir Das was like so impressed. He actually went close and tried to hear the sound, and it was true that the Vitthal Vitthal sound was coming from each one of those pancakes. And that is what the devotion of a true devotee feels like. Like she was so much immersed in chanting and remembering the names of the Lord that it was just coming from anything and everything she was associated with, right? So, with that, we come to the conclusion that those who take shelter at the Lord's feet through his devotees, the Lord cleans their heart and rewards them with his love. And from this incident, we can learn how the Lord is easily pleased if you serve his devotees, and how easy it is to attain God by keeping faith. So, the biggest thing in her story is that she had faith that if with full devotion, I serve the devotee of the Lord, I will get the Lord. And that is how it happened. Satsang and Seva with that perspective and attitude. So, yeah, that brings me to the end of it. And of course, as promised always, I'll share the links in our community so that we all can read it in more detail and watch the video from Premanandji in his own words, which makes it much more special. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, we are, I think, good with time.
Thank you so much, Sandhya. Such a beautiful story. Yeah, fills our heart with devotion.
So many inspirational saints, devotees that we have to learn about, and we'll keep learning, right? So I think we are at good time to close it, and see you all next weekend. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for turning on your videos as well. Those whoever could. This is really encouraging and engaging, right? So with that, I'll just stop the recording and we'll get going. Radhe Radhe.